Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of graph transformations. This is standard A.3E in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 38 of the 2024 released STAAR test. This is a new item type called inline choice. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. All right, so we've got just a basic function, graph of f of x equals x, and we can't put this in the calculator just to verify, but you know what, let's kind of do it our own here. So I'm going to take some black. What I want to do is I want to draw both of these on a graph because we can actually solve this without plugging it into the calculator. We can just use that to double check. All right, so what do we have? Well, we've got f of x equals x, right? So that's going to be your most basic linear function here. And so if I were to plug some values in here, watch what I'd get. All right, so if x is 0, then f of x is 0. Right, if x is -1, f of x is -1. They match. If x is 5, f of x is 5. So obviously what we're doing is we're going straight through the origin. And let me just go ahead and do that with connect line. Right, we're going to go straight through the origin, and it's just going to go uh, down 1 over 1, right? So we could just do it like that, and we can write our slope equals 1, right? Rise over run, so I'm going up 1 over 1 every time. Because we're looking at the slope, and we're also looking at the y-intercept here, okay? Now, this is where it gets interesting. Let's change this to red. Now I've got this g of x, and I'm doing two things to it. First, I'm taking half of that, half of the f of x, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to affect the slope. And then I'm adding a plus 3. That's in that, if we were to think of our slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, right? We're affecting the y-intercept, and we're also affecting the slope. Let's think about that, okay? So if g of x, right, equals, if I have my f of x, right, which is just the x, and then I've got my g of x, well, my g of x ends up being my 1/2 f of x plus 3. Well, let's see what each of these are, okay? So if my f of x is, I'm just going to take this one and bring it over here, 0. Well, I need to plug that into here, right? So 1/2 of 0 is 0, and still end up with a 3, okay? So I'm going to put that right there. If I have a -1, right, I end up with 1/2 times -1 plus 3. So that's going to end up being, what is that going to be? That's going to be -1/2 plus 3. So that's going to be 2.5, 2.5. So this -1 is going to be like right there. Then if I did my 5, I can do that down here. I'm going to have 1/2 times 5 plus 3, right? So that's going to be 2.5 plus 3, so that's 5.5. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this one, since we're going in between these lines, we can't really use the connect line feature, but I can draw something like this, and we can compare. Now, let's visually see. The graph of G is less steep or steeper, right? Well, what we're doing is we're taking half of our f of x, so our slope is definitely going to be less steep, right? Because your slope is going to end up being, right, that 1/2, because that's what we're multiplying it by. Then we end up with our y-intercept. Well, it's going to be higher because we have that plus 3, so it's going to be greater, right? So that's what we could do here. We can say graph of G is less steep because we're multiplying it by 1/2, and the y-intercept is greater than because we have that plus 3. And that's going to get us our full credit here.